This is a report to you from the Building Finance Committee. This committee was put together primarily to answer two questions. First, have we considered what the additional operating cost would be with the new expansion and the new facilities? And second, based on the construction cost and the increased operating cost, what would be the affordability of that process for the congregation, and how would the increased cost, including potential debt required, impact the operating fund of the church? So we assembled members of the congregation who had specific knowledge and expertise in project financing as a subcommittee who could help us analyze these issues and provide reliable answers. I'm going to address first the operating cost question. We decided that the most efficient way to answer this question was to analyze our existing operating cost based on a square footage basis. Looking at the operating cost projections slide, you can see our existing square footage, less our demolition area, and then the new square footage that will be added to arrive at approximately 137,000 square feet in the new building. This does not include any of the other buildings around the campus. So we took our existing operating cost for this building, which includes our utilities of about $150,000 annually, and then we added to it the additional support cost involved in operating the expanded facility. This includes our custodial support, our property insurance, custodial supplies, elevator maintenance, and other things, including our security cost, which are a significant part of our operating cost on an ongoing basis. Our total other costs were $438,000, which gives us total operating costs for this building at $589,000 annually. That nets out at about $5.93 per square foot. So based on our new total of 137,000 square feet, that would raise our operating cost to about $813,000. This reflects an increase of $224,583. Then a new question arose. This is as you use the facility now. What happens if the new building attracts a lot more people? How would the increased utilization affect our operating cost? So we've put together three additional scenarios, one with a 20% increase in usage, then a 30%, and finally a 50% increase. As you can see, our operating cost would go up proportionally to reflect that additional usage. Now let's look financially at the building project to get an actual total cost. You may have seen or heard that the projected cost by the construction consultants was $36 million, and where we are currently in the architectural process, that is accurate. However, that does not include any furniture and fixtures or audiovisual equipment, so we've added another $3.5 million to include these components. And then to get a total picture, our architectural fees will be about $2.4 million to give us an actual total projected building cost of $41,900,000. So how do we pay for that? First, with the help of our capital campaign consultants, we've identified candidates for lead gifts of around $10 million. Over the last several years, the trustees and finance committee have also set aside $5.1 million in designated funds for this project from bequests and funds distributed from the foundation. In addition, the trustees have committed to pay for the architectural fees of $2.4 million. So right now, before we start our capital campaign, we are starting with $18 million. The slide highlights four scenarios of what we are looking at raising from the congregation in a capital campaign. This potential support would include any support from the foundation, which would be considered just like the support of any other member of the congregation. So under these four scenarios, or options, we will start out at $15 million, and then go up to $17.5 million, $20 million, and $25 million. As you can see under option 1, our total fundraising of $32.5 million, we would have a balance that would need to be financed, resulting in a debt of about $9.4 million. With 10-year financing at 6.5% interest, which our committee estimated would be reasonable at this point in time, that would leave us with annual debt service, including both interest and principal, of about $1.3 million. Using 15-year financing, it would be about $980,000 annually. So how do we pay for that debt service? Currently, our foundation provides us with $2.179 million annually as a required distribution from their funds. This is applicable to all 4 options, so we can use all or part of that to service our debt. With 15-year financing, paying the $980,000 to service our debt would still leave us with about $1.1 million that we currently use to pay for renovations to our existing facilities and help support our operating cost. Now, as you remember, we will have increased operating costs with the expansion of about $224,000. Because the trustees have provided funding to cover those operating costs, the dollars the congregation provides through its gifts and our annual stewardship campaign will still be able to provide funding for ministries. However, under option 1, there will not be quite enough money from our existing funds, so we would need to raise an additional $176,000 annually from the congregation to fully support our ministry and operating cost and our debt financing. And as you can see, if we raise $17.5 million, shown in option 2 in our capital campaign, that need for additional congregational support to fund our operating cost goes away. And moving over to option 4, if we were able to raise $25 million in our capital campaign, we would not require any debt service at all. I hope this explanation of our financial planning answers all of your questions. If you have more questions, thoughts, or comments, please feel free to reach out to me or any of the members of the Building Finance Committee, and we'd love to discuss any of this with you further.